Welcome to the Football Show on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. I'm Peter Martin. Neil Lennon, Alan Ruff and Tam McManus here with me, and here's what's coming up on the show.
Brendan Rodgers insists Celtic's edge over Rangers this season won't play any role in his preparation for tomorrow's fifth Old Firm showdown of the season.
We have a humility in how we work. We respect every opponent that will play, whether it's Rangers or Raith or whoever.
Philippe Clement admits he could be forced to take a chance on several injured Gers stars tomorrow in a bid to finally get the better of Celtic.
I don't want to say too much about the squad. This is the final game, a decisive game, so maybe we need to take some risk with players that we normally don't do.
Steve Clarke reveals what he believes Ben Doak could bring to the Scotland squad if he is selected for the final 26-man group for next month's Euros.
I think the pace would be something that we haven't got in abundance in the squad, so it's something a little bit different.
Cowie confirms he's relieved Ross County have a slender lead over Raith Rovers ahead of Sunday's Premiership playoff second leg.
But then in a blink of an eye you concede a goal, and then that just gives the whole stadium a lift, and then it was vitally important that we left with a lead.
Yeah, lots to talk about on the programme, and delighted that Neil's here with us, Ruffy.
Yes.
Quite sad though, because obviously the deal's been done. He's the Rapid Bucharest manager, and one of our main men for the season is leaving.
Yeah, but we've been talking about going to Bucharest for a wee trip, for ages.
It's one of our favourite
So now we've got
places.
somewhere to go,
Yeah.
Have you got accommodation yet? No.
I have, yes.
Yes, so we'll say that. Mint it.
You can stay, Ruffy, I'm not sure about them.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, before we talk about the cup final, obviously, first and foremost, congratulations getting the job. How do you feel about getting it? Because obviously, from your point of view, there's been lots of links with other jobs, but finally you've got something that is ideally suited to get your teeth into.
Yeah, I mean, there's a chance of going for the title here. You know, the owner's got big plans for the club and ambitions. The 2-year-old stadium, new training ground, so the club's moving in the right direction, and they want a challenge for the title, and that really appeals to me, Pete. I have had a few offers elsewhere, but I think this is a country that's on the up again. It's been in the doldrums for quite a while, but the economy's on the up, and they're trying to transform the football side of things in the country. So, for example, Romania have qualified for the Euros, so that's creating a great interest around the country. I think 4 or 5 clubs now have put brand new stadiums as well, so they're getting the infrastructure right again and less of the corruption that was there before.
And from your own perspective on this, do you feel as if, I mean, it's always vital that you've got somebody, an owner in a club with a bit of stability and a plan and a vision. Is that really what sold it to you? And obviously you selling your plan to them?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I met the owner, Mr. Shushu, in Greece. He's very impressive. Principled, ethical. He wants to do things correctly. And he wants to not only get the team right, the first team and the club, but build something around for the younger generation to come through and get them off social media and come out and play football again. So that's his plan, that's his ambitions. He's a very wealthy man off his own back, but he's a real passion for the football club.
I know you'll put your own team there with you. Would you have someone obviously from within the city or the club that will help you along the way as well?
Yeah, actually, I don't know if you know this one, Ruffy, Bogdan Labont he's called. He's a goalkeeper. He played for Ajax and Roma, and he was the Romanian goalkeeper for 70 odd caps. So he's already part of the first team staff. He was taking the team in the interim. So a long conversation with him on Tuesday, and he's coming on board with us. So one, he's got a wealth of experience and a great playing career, and two, he'll help me integrate with the players and the staff.
Yeah. The other key element of this, which I've got to ask you about, is obviously on the basis of Omonia Nicosia and what you achieved there and some great results, and of course etched your name into their history books. Did you immediately say to him, look, this is not a quick fix, this is...
No, he's aware of that.
Yeah.
They've and he's aware of the problems that they've got on the sporting side of things, so it's a clean sweep, new sporting director, new coach, new staff. He's cleaned out all the people he wasn't happy with, who he didn't think had a good work ethic or were doing the job professionally and properly. So this is a new broom he's brought in with all the staff coming in, and there's a freshness about it.
Yeah.
I'm already looking at players. We've targeted 4 or 5 areas where the team needs to improve, and the style of player that we want to bring as well. And he's he's happy to go with it.
Yeah, and will you try and utilise the scouting from there? But would you go back to anyone from the UK that you potentially?
Possibly. You know, at the minute, the sporting director already has a list of players that they've identified. So we've gone through a few of them and really like the look of 3 or 4 of them. So already there's deals trying to get done.
Listen, I'm absolutely delighted for you.
Yeah, it's exciting.
It's great. I was just about to say, are you excited by it?
Yeah, really excited. You know, I feel at 52 I've got loads of energy for it. You know, albeit it's a different environment and a different culture, but you know, I experienced that for a year in Cyprus and I loved it. So I'm looking forward to this challenge now as well.
Yeah, Ruffy and I are happy you've got it. Obviously, for the benefit of people who are watching the programme and can't see Tam is here in the studio. He's just camouflaged, but he'll move his arm every now and then so that you know he's here. You're not happy because you wanted Neil to go to the Euros with us, Tam, yeah?
I did, aye. I thought he might have been coming, but I'm delighted he's got a job. I'm delighted he's got a job because we thought he was getting one earlier. Unfortunately, he didn't get that one, but he's got this one, which is great for him.
Yeah, absolutely.
He lost a few quid on that one, Pete. That's what he was upset about.
Absolutely. I knew there was something about you in it, not really about Neil and what he's got to look forward to. But hey, Ruffy, we've enjoyed the whole.
Oh, it's been great. I can't wait to see the team coming on the park next year for the season. You remember the Romanian? Remember the Romanians all come out with the blonde hair?
Yeah.
The World Cup. Well, the gingers all coming out next year. The whole team.
You won't like the colours.
What is it, staunch?
No, it's burgundy with maroon.
Oh, is it? Oh, is it right?
Yeah. With them
Get a good
black
away
seddies
strip.
and that.
Well, that's
I'll have a word about that.
I'm
trying to get a
looking
green and
forward to it.
white.
We've got to go to the stadium
Oh,
and support them.
Beautiful place.
Yeah, we'll be
They
there.
actually play Steaua. That's the big one. You got Steaua, Dinamo and Rapid.
Yeah.
Whenever they play Steaua, they play it at the National Stadium.
And can we come for that one?
Get 50,000-60,000 at it.
Got to go for that one, Tam.
So it's
Rapid.
It's a real good one.
Magic. Okay, that's in. You leave Scottish football behind, but there's a big game, and I want to thank you for coming in and giving us the opportunity to get your final thoughts on it, because Celtic and Rangers head-to-head, Scottish Cup final, Hampden Park, 3 o'clock kick-off. Alison McConnell takes up the story ahead of the big game.
It's the first Celtic Rangers Scottish Cup final in 22 years tomorrow afternoon when the sides meet at Hampden as Brendan Rodgers and Philippe Clement look to get their hands on the oldest silverware in Scottish football. And Celtic manager Brendan Rodgers takes his side into the game with the wind at their backs following last weekend's tight-tuck success. However, he's insisted that there is no complacency on his part given the upper hand that they've enjoyed over Rangers throughout the duration of this campaign.
No, you could never have that arrogance. It's not how we work. It's not, you know, we have a humility in how we work. We respect every opponent that will play, whether it's Rangers or Raith or whoever. You know, we have to prepare for the game. We come into the game in the ideal condition. I don't think there's any doubt in that.
Philippe Clement, meanwhile, has insisted that the nature of the game means that he may be forced into gambling on the fitness of certain players as he looks to get his strongest players out onto the pitch.
I don't want to say too much about the squad. This is the final game, a decisive game, so maybe we need to take some risk with players that we normally don't do, because there's a season coming after. So I don't want to get too much into that, which player is ready or not, or can start or not. So I did it all season, every occasion, every 3 days with you guys. This one, I don't want to speak too much about that.
All kicks off here at Hampden on Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock. Stay tuned to PLZ Soccer for all the updates.
Yeah, thanks to Alison out there at Hampden Park. Give us your thoughts. Who do you think is going to win? We'll give you our opinion on it as well. Thank you to Stephen and Jimbo and Chris and so many people who have just actually on our live feed. Wishing you all the very best, Neil. It's always good when people want you to do well.
Yeah, it's great. Look, I've had a great time here. You know, it's been a great year. Really enjoyed it. And I know that the company and the programme's going from strength to strength, so we'll probably watch it from Bucharest. But I'd like to thank everyone for the well wishes.
Yeah, absolutely. We wish you well with the job. The cup final itself is one of those situations. You must have listened to that report from Alison and thought, 22 years ago, your life has flashed before you. You were playing.
I was, yeah. It was a great cup final. Obviously, we lost it in the last minute, but we had 2 very good teams. We had won the league by a landslide that year. We were really strong, but just on the day, you know, Rangers played very well. And ebbed and flowed the game, and they nicked it at the end. Sutty's fault.
Yeah.
He was centre half at the time. I don't know how he ended up at centre half, but we were sort of like running on fumes at that stage. And funnily enough, I went in for an operation the next day. But yeah, to consider that it's 22 years since Celtic and Rangers have played in the final is incredible to me.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. I mean, Sutton didn't pick up the runner, and Lovenkrands sneaked in at the back post, Lorraine. I mean, oh, how the mighty have forgotten these things.
Yeah, no, but he's never let it go. You know,
Yeah.
you've got to let these things go. You can't keep bringing it up all the time. It's not long ago.
Well, absolutely, but it's nice to mention Sutton. Whatever happened to him, I'm not quite sure, but nevertheless, the game itself, Tam, is geared up for what we hope will be a cracker. If anything, I'm going to suggest this to you, you can all digest it. I think there's a real confidence in the Celtic camp, which, you know, coupled with the fact that Philippe Clement's talking about injuries that he's got to his squad, is there an overconfidence?
I don't think they will be within the team, in the squad. I think that Brendan's experienced, he's been there before, he's done it. He'll have the team ready. He won't be complacent, they won't be thinking they're going out just to turn up, because if they do that, Rangers will turn them over. I think Celtic are a better side, but there's been not a lot between the teams over the course of the season in terms of head-to-head. I think Celtic need to go out and play well. If they do that, I think they'll win the game. But it's a one-off game, it's the last game of the season. Rangers will give it everything. I think the pressure is, I think a lot of pressure is on Celtic, Peter. I think they're big favourites. I speak to Rangers supporters, don't fancy us. I think we're going to get it down. I don't know if that's them playing it down or they're actually fearing the worst. So I think Celtic go into big favourites, but on the day anything can happen in a cup final, Peter, particularly against Celtic and Rangers. So I still feel if Celtic turn up, play well, they're a stronger team with a stronger bench. But if they don't, then Rangers can definitely win the game.
Yeah, it's one of those games where you could easily, Ruffy, second guess the starting 11 for Celtic. I'm not so sure you could second guess the starting 11 for Rangers.
No, I don't think the Rangers supporters could. And obviously the manager's just announced he's got injuries there. They'll be wondering who they are and hoping it's not certain people that they want to be playing, you know, so we'll have to wait and see when the team lines come out. I think Clement is just trying to convince everybody that Tam's just said there isn't much between the teams in a one-off. But I mean, I think that he's just trying to galvanise everybody together to make them believe that. No, he believes if Lundstrom hadn't been sent off, they might have won the game. You know, I didn't see it that way. I thought Celtic were beginning to, you know, show their upper hand. But I think, I've said it before, I think Celtic midfield have got more in their midfield than what Rangers have.
And that's the key. As a coach, you know only too well, Neil, sometimes you're coming up against a team that has the upper hand on you, or that you realise is better than you man for man.
So what do you do?
He's got to come up with a plan.
He's got to change it. You know, I totally agree with you. Whether he changes formation or some personnel, but he can't go with the same formula he's been going with because it's not working. And Celtic are too good. So for me, how do you get Tavernier further forward? You know, stop worrying about what Maeda's doing. Do you play 3 at the back? Do you go with 2 strikers to maybe stop Celtic from playing out from the back? That's what I would do.
Yeah.
Because whatever he's done this year has not worked. And he can't stop the flow and the fluidity of Celtic's passing moves. Celtic, one decision I think they got to make, Ida or Kyogo. I'd imagine you go with Kyogo. Otherwise the team picks itself. It would be a big shot in the arm if they'd see him fit, but I don't know if he's going to be fit for Rangers. I think he would be a big player for them. He was when he came on in the second half at Ibrox, but apart from that, they've got to get Sterling in the central areas and stop, you know, using him out wide, because I think he can affect the game far more than there. I think he's been one of the better players this year, along with Butland. But all the roads lead to Celtic at the minute.
Yeah, and with that in mind, you know, we obviously we can offer our thoughts on what's gone before, potentially what the side would be. But as a manager, is Philippe Clement, if he does have to change it, you're not going to, I mean, everybody's talking about, oh, they need to lay a glove on McGregor, they need to either man mark him, maybe get Sterling on him, or maybe, you know, become a physical side. But do you think the overall style might be the way, you know, go a bit more direct, try and get somebody up front and annoy Celtic's back line?
I don't think this team is good enough to play football against Celtic. They lack speed, they lack creativity. So play to your strengths, you know. Dessers does okay at times up there on his own, but in the wider areas, I think they've been poor. I think at centre half they've been struggling as well against Celtic, and you know, for me, O'Reilly, Hattari, and McGregor dominated the last game. You know, it could have been a lot more, and so could they won at Celtic Park in December. I think the 2-1 scorelines have flattered Rangers. I think there's been a gulf between the teams, and Philippe has to find a way of, you know, closing that gap by hook or by crook.
Yeah, one of the former Rangers players, a legend at the club for what he achieved under Dick Advocaat as well, and just a fabulous person. If anybody's had the good fortune to meet him, Arthur Newman was in Glasgow talking about the game, and he mentioned that maybe Dessers could be the man to step up.
I think maybe out of the blue it can be Dessers. He's sometimes he gets some criticism as well, but still he's scoring goals. And this is the match that you can become a legend, because what you said as well, everyone remembers the goal from Bluffacrans in the last minute, the header that you said with the cross from Neil McCann, because that's what people always remember. You know, the goals, winning trophies, and they know exactly who was involved with the cross, who's scoring the goal. So I hope that Dessers will be the man scoring the winning goal.
Yeah, I mean, you look at, it's hard to believe, but I mean, it's 23 goals in all competitions for Cyril Dessers, and even then he's still not convinced the Rangers faithful.
He's played a lot of games, Peter. I think 23 games. I think he's played over 50 appearances. Listen, 23 goals is good for Celtic Rangers, but I think that's par. I think if you're a striker and you're playing, he's made 55 appearances, if you're going to be looking to score 20-25 goals. So I think he's unconventional, he's off the cuff, he's someone that, listen, he scored in the last game at Parkhead. You know, he's proven he can score in the game, so he's one if you can get service into him, Peter. I don't know how much service he's going to get, how much of the ball Rangers are going to get. They went very direct at Parkhead. Will they go the same again at Hampden? I don't know. But he's got a goal in him, Peter, and there's not a lot of players in that Rangers team that have got a goal in him, bar him.
The key element here, Ruffy, is Tam and you're talking about Cyril Dessers and his qualities. He has to score in big games at the big moments for me to convince people he's the real deal. 23 goals is fine, but the amount of Rangers fans who turn around and say, well, yeah, that's great, 23 goals, but what about that chance against Ross County, 6-7 yards out? These are the big moments that change games.
Yeah, that's what big players do. They win you games. You know, strikers win you games, goalkeepers, for me, win you games as well. If you've got two of them, you know, it always goes. I always think he just takes his touch too much. You know, he has scored some good goals, you know, but I just find that the crucial moment when you're looking for a striker to take the authority, he just dillies a wee bit and the opportunity gets missed.
Yeah, and if you're talking about either side, who has the more match winners in the team, Johan Mjällby, former Celtic player, reckons Celtic have them in abundance.
I personally think they have more match winners than Rangers, but you can't disregard the Rangers, you know, because I mean, if you look back, you know, they had a golden opportunity to put on, you know, a lot of pressure, you know, earlier in the season in the league, you know, but then obviously they didn't really get it together, you know, results-wise, you know. I think it was 3 games in 7 days, something like that, when they, you know, spoiled their chances a wee bit, you know.
It must be a nightmare for yourself, Neil. You know, Johan's really let himself go.
He has, he looks awful.
Doesn't look, he doesn't look
Newman, two of them.
Yeah, the two of them don't look as good as they looked yesterday. I mean, it's the only way I can sum it up.
I'll need to have a word with him. Yeah. Obviously, he's let his dad go and everything. Still looks $1 million.
I know, doesn't he? Both Arthur and Johan, you'd think they would be. You think they'd be playing in the cup final?
Tell you what, they probably could still play. They were two great players, by the way.
Yeah.
Newman's a great left back, and Johan was just fantastic centre half.
Yeah, I can still hear echoes of Martin saying, Johan, what have I told you before? You just give the ball to the other two, Lennon and Lambert. Yeah, in a strange sort of way, you know, players of that quality, of that calibre, it's someone with a calm head, it's someone with a bit of technical ability that can win. You know, Arthur Newman mentioned something there which is key in those games, which was, he said, I still remember Neil McCann with the cross, and Neil McCann's cross, it managed to take out, I remember it well, it managed to take out 3, 4, 5 Celtic players when it eventually ends up at Lovencrans. Yeah, it's that delivery, it's that
quality
moment. Yeah,
and Lovencrans was a real thorn in our side. You know, his record against us was pretty good. You know, he was a good finisher and he was quick. But that team, our team and their team in that year was just laced with, you know, superb international footballers. You know, two guys, Arthur, Barry Ferguson's, Henriks, Chris, Petrov, Lambert. You know, so you know they were top games, and the speed of the games were great as well. I agree with you. I think Celtic have got far more match winners in the team. They're in a good place at the minute. You know, it's probably they don't want the season to end, Pete, because they're playing that well. You know, they've got a good rhythm about them. I thought that when they won the league at Kilmarnock, it's probably the performance of the season. They were absolutely outstanding. It's a one-off game. Anything can happen. But Rangers have to come up with some way of stopping the flow. It's a difficult thing to do, but, you know, I would try and make Celtic play forward longer. You know, go and get in their faces and defend from the front, which they don't do. They're too easy to play through at times.
Dare I say it, if Philippe Clement was looking for a blueprint on how to destabilise a club that is a red-hot favourite, maybe he should take a leaf out of Gasparini's book in Atalanta, which is quite simply...
What a performance that was.
I mean, it's just, that's the way you would have to do it, I think.
You know, I thought that Atalanta dominated the game. I don't know if there was a mental thing with Leverkusen, but they deserved to win. You know, could have been more, but no fear, Peter. You know, Leverkusen were heavy favourites going into that game. I think Gasparini would have played up on that, but his team were just outstanding. You know, and then you got a Lookman who, you know, journeyman player around a couple of the leagues, has one of the games of his life. And you just never know. Somebody tomorrow for Rangers might have the game of their life. You just don't know.
Yeah.
But if we're going with form, you'd have to say Celtic are way ahead.
Yeah, and just on that, obviously, you know, we're delighted you're able to come in for the for the first half hour. Brendan Rodgers, we've got no problem, and I think obviously my criticism of the situation of his return is well documented, but I've got no problem with him as a coach. I think he's a top coach. And I've got no problem with Brendan at the end of either tomorrow, as he has mentioned at the end of winning the league, just maybe having a look and saying to people, okay, I understand the negativity of coming back. What do you think, from your point of view, will be his overall look as an assessment of him as a manager coming back second time?
I think he'd be pretty proud of himself to come through what he's come through. I think he had a lot of... he was tested a lot this year, you know, right up until maybe a couple of months ago. The team and him have prevailed. And I think what you'll have now, Peter, is continuity that they didn't have last year in the close season, with Ange leaving and then Brendan coming in. He'll have a list of his players that he wants, you know, and the players will be used to his methods now, his way. And I can just see this being another period of dominance unless Rangers invest and get the right recruitment. Get the recruitment right, because they haven't got that right for a few years now.
Yeah, I mean, that's the key to it all, Ruffy. I did mention that I am, you know, led to believe that there are, at this moment, people being courted to come and invest in Rangers, which is far more important than... overall, it would be a huge boost for them winning the cup final, but I think the investment is key.
Yeah, well, that's what they did the last time, you know, when they had that fantastic run to the final. You know, they got a hold of people, big Rangers supporters throughout the world, who were quite happy to give loans of 4 million, 5 million, 6 million, you know, because they know the strength that Celtic have got with the money they've got in the bank, so they have to come up with something, you know, so they're delving in again and looking for big people with big money to help them out.
Okay, let's offer our predictions before Neil has to leave us. Just on that point, quickly, for you guys, and I think it's a lovely touch ahead of the cup final at 12 o'clock. It will be at Ibrox, just between Edmiston House and the Copeland Road stand at Ibrox. They'll unveil the Walter Smith statue, which is just a brilliant tribute.
Brilliant, wonderful. Thoroughly deserved. I think he's arguably Rangers' greatest manager of all time, although there will be people, you know, in history who've probably got a better record, but yeah, thoroughly deserved. And he's been a big loss to a lot of people, you know, not just in football but out of football. And you know what he created from his own hard work was spectacular. So this is a a fitting tribute for him.
Yeah, absolutely. And on this day, Ruffy, I always like to say to you what happened on this day.
Year?
Well, I think it's some 52 years ago, Ruffy, on this.
Oh, I think I know. 52. It's 1971. No,
72.
72.
Yep, on this very day.
Rangers.
Yeah, Cup Winners' Cup.
Cup Winners'
Scotland.
Cup,
No, that was
That's 73.
Where did it all go wrong? Yeah, exactly. Thanks for that, Tom. Only you could have come up with that memory. We'll talk about Miss Scotland later, but let's concentrate on the fact that, 52 years ago, the reason why I picked up on it, because I follow Derek Parlane on Instagram, who looks as if he can still play right now, Derek, and he mentioned, it'd been great to be part of that. He was part of the subs, of course. He played an integral part in getting them there against Bayern Munich, but Parlane, Fife, Penman, Denny, and the sub that was a German goalkeeper for Rangers.
I know. German goalkeeper for Rangers, not off the top of my head.
Jerry Neef.
Oh, Jerry Neef, yeah.
So he was the sub goalkeeper. Hopeless. I know he's hopeless. But McCloy, Jardine, Matheson, Greg, Derek Johnston, Dave Smith, McLean, Con, Steen, McDonald, and Willie Johnson. The Rangers side that won the European Cup Winners' Cup in 1972 on this very day. And of course, I think tomorrow a lot of Rangers fans will remember Walter Smith. I think a nice point that Neil made there. I think he's certainly, European. He got to a European final, but in modern day football, you'd be hard pushed to argue him as the greatest ever Rangers manager. Although some people would say, okay, let's go back to Bill Struth possibly, but Willie Waddle and Jock Wallace, their efforts in getting a European trophy can't be.
No, I think the modern day Rangers supporter will remember Walter Smith. He was there very in the background a wee bit when Graham was there, then took over for Graham. And I haven't heard in the football sense anybody saying anything against Walter in any atmosphere, any time you've been out and talking about football. He was so well liked with all the players that he had and the supporters at the time.
Okay, give us your prediction and why.
3-1. I think both teams will score, and I think Celtic will be too good, too much quality.
Match winner?
Kyogo. If I fancy him, I fancy James Forrest to have a good game. He's in great form at the minute as well. You could nap, O'Reilly, you could nap Maeda. I just think Kyogo might be in for a big day again.
And not to in any way suggest he's got just a few words. Does he need to make any long-winded statement, Brendan Rodgers, ahead of this because they're red-hot favourites?
No, I don't think so.
You've been in a cup final.
I think Brendan will do it business as usual. His record in this competition is perfect. He's won loads of trophies. He's won the league already. It'll be more of the same, please.
Yeah, Tam, give us your thoughts and why.
I'll go for 2-1 to Celtic. I think that Celtic are the better team. I think Rangers will be obviously up for every game, but I think last game of the season will give it everything. I don't think there's as much pressure on Rangers tomorrow as there has been all season. I think there's a little bit of pressure off because everyone expects Celtic to win. I think they can play a little bit more freely. I think Celtic will still have too much quality, but I think it'll be tight, Peter. 2-1. Celtic.
Ruffy?
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see who the players he's going to take a chance on. If it's in central defence, I think that'll play into Celtic's hands. I, like everybody, think that Celtic have got far too many winners on their team than Rangers, but like Tam, I think it'll be tight, so I'm going to go Celtic 2-1.
Yeah, I'm with you on it, Neil. I think if he doesn't come up with a different game plan, I think it's same outcome again, 3-1 Celtic. Give us your point of view on it. If you think something different, if you've got a legitimate point that you want to highlight on our feed or indeed across our emails to the station, you can also drop it in on the app as well. Your thoughts on the cup final, who is going to win it, or build up to it all the way through to kick-off and beyond it after it as well. We'll give you all the feedback on Celtic against Rangers in the Scottish Cup final. All that remains for me to say before we go to this next piece is to Neil Lennon, the very best of luck. We will be there cheering you on as ever. It's absolutely magnificent that you are the Rapid Bucharest manager. We'll have to buy that maroon top, Tam, for yourself so people can see you.
Get the white one, Tam.
Because obviously Tam's going on a reconnaissance mission to the Donbass region. Look at the Mickey you buy me. What did you honestly get up this morning and think to yourself, I look dangerous, I think I'm going to wear
this? It was Ruffy. Ruffy gave me a late call to play golf, so I just literally get dressed in the dark.
Yeah,
this is the result of it.
It is absolutely sensational. Listen, we'll give Neil the chance to escape the studio by basically saying Scotland have introduced a 28-man squad, and Kerry Pollock was there to get the thoughts of Steve Clarke, the Scotland manager.
Here at the National Stadium, Scotland boss Steve Clarke has announced his 28-man provisional Scotland squad ahead of next month's European Championships. A slightly larger squad allows Steve Clarke for some wriggle room, he says, before he has to make some difficult decisions further down the line.
It's 28, there'll be 26 of those will go to the tournament and 2 will miss out, which will be unfortunate, but such is the life of a head coach. You have to make those decisions. I just wanted to give myself a little bit of breathing space to have a look at certain players, how they are, how their fitness is.
Celtic winger James Forrest has been included in Steve Clarke's selection this time around, and the Scotland boss has nothing but admiration for the 32-year-old whose last cap came in Euro 2020.
James Forrest, where do you start? If ever there's an example to young players on how to conduct yourself if things are not going well for you at your club, then I think James epitomises that. Train well, work well, keep your head down, keep believing, and you never know, maybe the head coach will pick you for your country again.
Liverpool's Ben Doak is also a name added to Steve Clarke's list, and the Scotland manager believes the youngster can certainly add something a little bit different to his squad in the summer.
I think the pace would be something that we haven't got in abundance in the squad, so it's something a little bit different. He's a young man, he's got a lot to learn in the game. I've never had the chance to work closely with Ben, so it just seemed like the right opportunity to put him in.
Z Soccer will be following the national team across Germany next month, so be sure to stay tuned across all of our social media platforms, and don't forget to download our app, which is available on Google Play and the App Store.
Yeah, so that's the Scotland camp, 28, 2 to go from it. Who's going in your mind, and who's going to be left out of that to reduce it to 26, Tam?
Well, I think there's obviously going to be a goalkeeper dropping out.
Which one?
Craig Gordon. I just don't think he's played enough, Peter. I think that Zander Clark's obviously held that position down at Hearts. Liam Kelly's had a good season for Motherwell. Angus Gunn's the number 1. I think Craig will miss out. And Ryan Jack probably, I think, maybe drop out as well.
Ruffy?
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think we've spoke about Stevie Clarke a lot of times, and the big word that comes up was loyal. Loyal to guys for his squad. He keeps saying, I'm loyal to him, I'm going to wait until he's ready. If he drops Kelly, if I was Kelly, I'd be devastated. I've been in every squad, I've turned up at every game, I've been there, and I know Craig Gordon's probably the better goalie. If Craig Gordon's going there as the third choice, he's got to take Kelly. Yeah. If he takes Craig Gordon, it's got to be because he thinks he's a second choice. And I like Tam, don't think he's played enough games, and I don't think the other 2 goalkeepers have done anything wrong to be dropped at this particular time.
What a big call. I mean, I should have mentioned to everybody that, Alison, you'd be sitting in there just in case they think Neil's had an operation and it's been a huge success. Because you're certainly a step up from Neil Lennon. But it's a tough call, isn't it?
Yeah, I wonder if Craig Gordon might just go because of his vast experience. I know that he's not played a lot of football, but I just wonder, a goalkeeper like that who's been over the course so often, that if something were to happen to Angus Gunn, that you have a very reliable deputy to go in. So I just wonder if it might be Liam Kelly who drops out. And I take your point about Steve Clarke's philosophy and how the message that he has given out is one of loyalty. And I think that's been reflected in squads. I think for me though, I just wonder if Gordon's experience takes him on the plane. And the other one for me, I think, is maybe Ryan Jack, just because he's not played an awful lot of football this season. And also I think Scotland are very well served in the middle of the park.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think we're all in agreement. I think Ryan Jack, no harm to the boy, he just hasn't played. Forrest on fire. Ben Doak, something different. Anthony Ralston gives him that right back option, and Ross McCrory obviously can play a number of positions as well. This is all based on the situation where you're looking at the players and say to yourself, okay, what options is he going to go with? How is he going to line up his team? Will the two friendlies be a strong indicator of how he's going to line up his teams? Because you've got Gibraltar on June the 3rd before taking on Finland. So that might give us a wee insight into who he's looking at when one or two of these boys are going to get a run out.
I don't think the Gibraltar one will be, that's not a test for anybody, but I think you'll see a large number of the final selection getting a game. I think the rotation will be a lot, because obviously we think we're going to beat them 3, 4, 5 or whatever. So I think everybody will get a shot, but everybody wants to see Doak. You know, we all hear about how good he is and how good he's going to be, but it's great to see them actually on the park, and then you can assess, you know, how good the boy is. I mean, if he's Liverpool say he's going to take over Salah, then that's a tremendous statement for anybody. So let's see how good he is.
Yeah, I think Arne Slot might have something different to say about that. I'll look at his squad and start signing his own type.
Ruffy's not putting much pressure on him anyway, is he?
I was just about to say, I can't remember where that quote was, but if it...
Just made it up?
Yeah, I think that's exactly what I was thinking.
He's got the new Salah.
He's...
your headline. Doak's the new Salah.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think I agree with you. I think Ryan Jack will drop out. I'm with you, Ali. I think he is loyal, but he's loyal... You know, he can still be loyal and select Craig Gordon, because he's been loyal to him before. Craig Gordon's a top goalkeeper, could use him in that coaching capacity of offering the advice in the big games too. And if something just crazy was to happen for whatever reason...
So you'd say jump ahead of Xander Clarke?
I think Gordon's probably a world-class goalkeeper. Certainly at points in his career he has been a world-class goalkeeper.
I wouldn't dispute that, but if they're just having 4 games in a season...
Who's a better keeper, Liam Kelly or Craig Gordon?
If Craig Gordon had played all the games
right now, who do you think's a better keeper?
I would go for Kelly, probably.
Would you?
Because he's played every game. You know,
that's not a question.
He's had a great season.
I'm actually asking, who do you think's a better goalkeeper right now?
Oh, Craig Gordon.
Why are we not taking the better goalkeeper?
Because he's not played enough games. I mean, some of the games he's played, I haven't been particularly impressed, you know, by some of the decision making he's made, because it's natural if you've been out all year, your timing's going to be out and things like that. I just think Liam Kelly has had a good season. Liam Kelly has had a better season than Craig Gordon. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
because he's playing most of the games.
I think I don't want to listen. I don't think it's the right thing to do to start to dissect mistakes that keepers have made, because they make them. So it's a big call, but it's not the be all and end all. I think the be all and end all for Scotland going to the friendlies and then is basically going to the European Championships and working out, can we get goals from somewhere other than midfield? Because if the front line can't score goals, Ali, we are going home on the 24th of June.
Yeah, I think so. I think you know what you've got to do. I think when you look at the opening game, it's obviously a fairly daunting task to take anything from the host nation, to take anything against what you'd have to say is maybe a resurgent Germany team too. I think that one is very difficult, but the next 2 games are winnable for Scotland. Certainly, I think you could be looking at 4 points out of 6, and then there would be a question mark whether that would be sufficient to take you through. And we all know Scotland have never been out the group stages before at a major international tournament. So I think you do need an onus on your forward players being clinical. There won't be a lot of chances in the games. I think you're going to need them to take them when they come.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for the feed. Always, as ever, on a Friday we like to go live, and thank you to so many of you for your opinions on the football. And obviously some people who we don't mind people who are negative, Tam, don't we? Know, I haven't said it for the entire season, Ruffy. I have not gone on. I've not gone on record.
Never even got the T-shirt.
Yeah,
we're going to get the T-shirt.
We were going to get the T-shirt, but I've not gone on record for anybody who's been unbelievably negative and abusive. Even somebody on here says they love the new hairstyle that you've got, Alison, albeit it's your mum. But other than that, you know, there's lots of people who have offered their opinion, and thank you to so many of you who have joined us throughout the season. The great news is that PLZ Soccer doesn't suffer badge kissers or anybody who basically doesn't step up to the plate, and that's why we're going to the Euros, Tam, and we're going to the Euros. We're so looking forward to it. You absolutely nipped our brain constantly over a couple of seasons saying, I'm ready, I'm
I
the
feel
man.
I deserve it for my loyalty. I feel as if I deserve this trip
Absolutely.
for the last 5 or 6 years.
I mean, there's been a couple of times, and Alison says...
It's a long time for me at one place.
Yeah, exactly. Which is quite unusual, actually. And I'm waiting for PLZ to go into liquidation, since that's usually...
Usually at the end of the season you get bumped.
Yeah.
When somebody has a wee whisper in your ear.
You're definitely going. I mean, Alison obviously said, obviously ditch him because he gives more to the Daily Record column than he gives to us. But I said, look, Alison, he'll come good for the Euros. And anyway, who reads it? But anyway, we're looking forward to the Euros. Alison, the whole team back here. Lots of stuff to do with the Tartan Army, lots of features back here in Scotland. But we're going to be out there, and I'm delighted to say our old mucker Hugh MacDonald is going to be going out to Germany with us, because Hugh knows Germany inside out.
It's me, you and Hugh.
Me, you and Hugh.
Oh,
Kerry's our reporter.
That's our dream team.
AJ's our camera person. Anne's our producer.
Not so much for you two.
Yeah.
And not so much for you.
You're going to get leather, by the way, honestly. Really looking forward to it. And the coverage will be extensive, Alison.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. I'm sure you guys will work hard out there. You might enjoy a few evenings off, but I can't wait to see all the content that comes back. I think it's a fantastic time and it's an exciting time. It's great to be part of it. Obviously, the last European Championships were a bit different, given that they came in the immediate aftermath of COVID and we didn't have full stadiums. It's a different proposition entirely this time, and one that I think everyone can embrace and enjoy.
Absolutely, and if you are going to Munich and then on to Cologne and Stuttgart, why not just say hello to us? We'll be there. We'll have the T-shirts on, we'll have the Scotland scarves, we'll be saying we non-stop. But if you can't go, then why not tape today's programme and look at the last programme Ruffy's ever on, because he's not coming. He's going elsewhere, and that's just basically an indication of loyalty after 11 years at PLZ Soccer.
Yeah, he's absolutely minted. He's got so much money and he's staying here to go and get more money.
Yeah.
Which I think is embarrassing.
Yeah, I think so too. But next year, Peter and Tam's football show is going to be so extensive. There's going to be so much that you can look forward to in the show, because the Rat will be leaving. Badge kissers are punted right out the door.
I only go to World Cups, actually.
Absolutely. Listen, we love talking about football. We're going to be there at the Euros. Hopefully you'll be there with us. If you are going over, hey, come up and say hello. Come on the programme. We're going to be live every day at the European Championships in Germany, and hopefully you can join us with our extensive coverage. If you download the app, you'll get all the breaking news at your fingertips. You get all the video footage live, as well as the key interviews, and we'll have the previews of the matches and the post-match reaction as well. All to look forward to. So, Ruffy, football dominates our thoughts right across the board, whether it's men's football, women's football. We're right across it, doing lots of features and getting lots of great feedback. The playoffs. Suddenly, we're in a situation where your prediction looks a little bit shaky after last night. Ross County have the edge 2-1 against Raith Rovers.
Yeah, they certainly have. I don't think Raith Rovers played particularly well in the first half, but they hang on in there. Got a goal late on, will give them a wee bit of hope. But I think the only reason they will win now is obviously Ross County panic a wee bit, and with everything that goes with it, to get it over the line. But it's one of the games, if Ross County get the first goal, then you would think that'd be all over. But no, I think Raith Rovers are still in it.
Yep, still a note of caution from Ross County's manager Don Cowie.
And I spoke about that, before the game. In these two-legged ties, we've seen it last year in our own case. It swings, very quickly, momentum. At 2-0, I felt the boys looked really comfortable, and like you say, we might have, kicked on and got the third goal. But then in a blink of an eye, you concede a goal, and then that just gives the whole stadium a lift. And then it was vitally important that we left with a lead.
Yeah, they got it. They look comfortable at 2-0. But again, there's just one element of this that I think gives Raith Rovers hope, Tam, is quite simply, I've watched Ross County in games look as if they're absolutely comfortable, and then they shoot themselves in the foot.
Yeah, I don't think the tie's over. I think that Ian will be disappointed. I know he's disappointed with the way they played. We've seen a lot of them this season. They get the ball down, they play. They play nice football. I thought they went a little bit route one last night, a little bit panicky. Trying to get the ball forward. Particularly in the first half. Second half, they were a bit better. If they got and play their football, Peter and Dingwall, play the way they can play, they've still got an opportunity. But if they lump it up to a striker, Ross County's got 2 or 3 giants at the back. They just set that up all night. So Ross County massive favourites. First goal's huge. Raith Rovers get it. Ruffy says Ross County could panic. Ross County get it. They could win 2 or 3-0. It was curtains for Raith Rovers.
Yeah, Ian Murray, the Raith Rovers boss, still has belief that something could happen up there at Dingwall.
Huge. It's a fantastic day for them and for us. And it's not just a day out. We're not going there for a wee kick around and a stroll in the park. We're going there to try and win the game. And if we do that, then it's even better. Maybe it's just written in the stars for us. Having to go the full hog and go right to the end, because there's been so many games and times this season where we've had to do that. And we'll give it our best shot. The supporters will back us. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, good game. Okay, Sunday playoff. Who's winning?
I think Ross County.
Ruffy?
Yeah, I think Ross County now, yeah.
Changed your mind?
Yeah, no, I've not changed my mind, I just think they'll win.
Yeah, and trying to stay in with Jan the Staggy?
Yes, most definitely.
Does Don Cowie get the job permanently?
Oh, he's got it now.
Yeah.
I think he ticks every box that McGregor wants.
Yeah, managers come and go. Everybody's wondering about the managers and whether they'll stay on and who's going to replace outgoing managers. Derek McInnes signs a new long-term deal at Kilmarnock. Always good when other clubs are sniffing around looking for a manager. Suddenly Derek, well worthy of it, till 2027 he's signed an extension.
Yeah, he is well worthy of it, but you're right, it helps. I'm sure him or his agents went in and said, listen, there's a bit interesting with different clubs. And he's got himself I don't think money's a motivation for Derek anywhere else. He would have went to the Rangers or Sunderland, he was at Aberdeen. So I think he's happy at Kilmarnock. He's got a stable chairman there, stable board. The complete opposite is my old club Hibs, who he was a favourite to get the job there. I don't think he was ever going to take it, but I think he sees himself maybe pushing Hearts next year or whoever for third place. I think he's got a really good squad there. He's got some good young players as well. If he can keep, Watsons and Armstrongs and that, then they could go and push for third. I still think there's a wee bit to go at Kilmarnock in terms of where they could finish next season. And he totally deserves his new deal, but I think the Hibs supporters will be disappointed because I think the large majority would want Derek in at Easter Road.
Yeah, and it looks as if David Gray is going to get it.
Yeah, I think David's the favourite now. As I said, there's a lot of people ruling themselves out. I think Derek signed a new deal's ruled himself out. Stephen Robinson, I believe, ruled himself out. Neil's going to Romania. I don't think Hibs are going to go down the route of England again. I think they've went down that route with a young coach, with Sean Maloney. They've went with a guy who played and coached in England, Lee Johnson. Nick Montgomery didn't know Scottish. I think they're going to look in-house for me, Peter, and I think that David Gray has been in the hot seat 3 or 4 times now. Knows the club. I think he'll get a bit of leeway with the supporters because he's a club legend. And I think he's ready for it, Peter. He's not experienced in terms of games coached, but I think he's experienced in terms of known Hibs and known behind the scenes and the players and the staff. So I think that David is big favourite for me to get the job now.
Is it easier for him to go in as a coach with Malky calling the shots above him?
Yeah, I think that's perfect. I think as a young coach for him to look upstairs and see Malky there, it's a great sounding board for him. To go in whenever things are going right or wrong. I believe maybe Darren McGregor, somebody like that, could maybe come in and help David as well. They're close, so. No, I think just everything's aligned for David, to go and take the job long term now.
What's your thoughts, Ruffy?
I'm not so sure about that one. I think the owners at Bournemouth would be expecting a wee bit more than that, maybe a bigger name. I know he'll get the respect for the Hibs supporters. He's a legend there for what he's done. I think he will be there or thereabouts, but I just think the Hibs supporters want something bigger than that.
Yeah, Ali?
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with Ruffy. I think they can't afford to get this appointment wrong. They need an appointment that's going to stabilise the club. You can't keep chopping and changing after a couple of months when it's not going well. They need to take their time, first and foremost. I think they need to do their due diligence and they need to bring in someone that they think's got a bit of longevity. I know that's maybe a bit of an oxymoron in football. You never know how long a manager's got, but I think just the alacrity with which they've gone through managers, it's not good for any club. You need a level of stability, and I think this is a very important appointment.
Yeah, if you can, Alison, refrain from using words like oxymoron and alacrity. You lost the two of them immediately there.
Yeah.
You had them at hello, and then you'd lost it completely.
Alacrity.
Just a good word by you. How I could spell that.
Yeah, exactly. Try not to wonder, we've only got 10 minutes left. Plastic pitch, the vote's back on. Banning them from season 26 onwards. right thing to do. I hope they get it. There were some league clubs, I think the vote requires 9 out of the 12 to vote it through. There's a lot of clubs who are not happy about it because they've got plastic pitches.
Yeah, but I think they have to be 100%. If you're in the top league, you've got to have grass. You know, I think we all appreciate why the teams in the Championship, First Division, Second Division have it. You know, but I think the Premiership, if we're going to promote the game, it's good to see a proper grass park and good quality, and we've got them now. So I think if you're in the Premiership, you should have grass.
Okay, there you are. I agree with you 100%, Ruffy, and I don't think anybody should have any leeway on it, nor do I think anybody should be compensated to try and switch on it. You know, you made your bed, you've made your money. If you want to join the top flight, you have to change. You have to meet all the rules. I'll tell you, from the saving grace of Craig Levine, suddenly a new owner at St Johnstone, Adam Webb's takeover has been approved, and he'll now get a chance to buy Jeff Brown out and start a new era at McDermott Park.
Yeah, I think it's important. I think that St Johnstone over the last couple of seasons have been down in the mix for relegation. I think that it's crying out for fresh investment, Peter, fresh ideas. You know, there's been a lot of players there, a lot of staff there, the same ownership. And they got away with it this season again with the skin of their teeth. You know, again a couple of seasons ago against, was it Inverness? You know, they got away with it again. So I think it's crying out for fresh ideas, and Adam Webb will get in there, and St Johnstone fans will be excited. They'll maybe think he's going to put some money in. I think St Johnstone are a club that are stable, but if they wanted to take the next step and try and push up the league again like they've done maybe 5-10 years ago, then they need fresh investment and to pay bigger money.
Okay, maybe good times ahead for Saints. Just before we go, we've got a couple of things to look at in England, but cup finals, that's what it's all about right across the weekend. Not only Celtic against Rangers, but Rangers against Hearts in the Women's Scottish Cup final. That's one that we are going to look forward to, of course. Alison, as ever, has been brilliant, I have to say to you, Ali. The coverage and the feedback we've had from the women's game is great testament to the hard work you, Kerry, Cheryl and everyone's put in the background. You know, some of the feedback we've had from the women's game has been absolutely superb, and our reporters Cheryl Smith and Alison McConnell were out there at Hampden to preview the big one.
Rangers and Hearts will go head to head here on Sunday for a chance to win the Women's Scottish Cup. And Joe Potter's side will have to put last week's title disappointment behind them if they're to go on and win 2 domestic cups, having already won the Sky Sports Cup earlier in the season. And the Rangers manager is adamant that her players' focus will only be on Hearts.
I wanted him to feel that disappointment of the weekend. It was important. You know, we spent a couple of hours together after the game on Sunday, and as you can imagine, you know, it wasn't a nice feeling to have. But it's important for us to feel it, for us to remember it. They had the day on their own to recover on Monday. It's important to have a day off, and then, as I say, when we come in, we can really put that to bed.
Eva Ollard's side have already beaten Rangers this season, and they're keen on causing another upset at Hampden on Sunday, with the Spaniards stressing that our side need to believe.
That for me, the mental side is the most important thing, no? Because you can prepare a lot the match, but if the players don't believe, we are not going to get a result. But if we believe, is when everything can happen.
It all kicks off here on Sunday at 2:30, and you can keep up to date with all the action across PLZ Soccer's social media channels.
Yeah, well done to Cheryl and Alison. The feedback's been superb, Alison, from the women's game. It goes from strength to strength. There's, you know, more and more companies interested in it, and we've certainly had some great footballers and managers come on to the show to promote it.
Yeah, and I think the fact it was such an exciting finale for the second successive season going right to the wire, Celtic winning it on goal difference, it doesn't get any closer than that. A 90th minute winner from Amy Gallagher last Sunday to deliver Celtic's first title. Of course, Amy's the great-granddaughter of Patsy Gallagher, writing a new story into the very modern entity that is Celtic. And I think just the dramatic nature of it encourages a bit of interest, generates a good wee bit of coverage, and of course the challenge, as always, is sustaining it and building on it.
Who wins?
I think Rangers for me. I think it would be impossible not to see Rangers win. Hearts caused an upset. They beat Rangers at the Oriam towards the end of last season, a result really that cost Rangers the league. Rangers dominated that game. On another night, they would have won that game 4 or 5-1. Just one of those nights where nothing went in for them. I think they'll be far too strong for Hearts. I think Rangers, neither team have won the Scottish Cup before. Hearts have never been in a major final. Rangers have never won the Scottish Cup before. I think they'll be sore at the manner in which they lost the title. I know that there's a very, very strong feeling within the Rangers camp that they're the best team in the league, and I think they're irritated at how they allowed it to slip from their grasp, and I think Hearts might just pay the price for that frustration that they've held this week.
Yeah, delighted to say we've had Eva Olid in the studios on the Women's Football Show. I had the great opportunity to chat with Jo Potter, got a lot of time for her, thought she was really well spoken at the PFA Player of the Year Awards, where she picked up an award and then eventually picked up another couple of awards for 2 of her players. So good luck to both managers on what will be a fantastic day at Hampden for the Scottish Cup final in the women's game. And across PLZ Soccer, not only do we bring you Scottish, European and world football, we cover the men's game and the women's game as well. So you're getting it all, and there's more to come in the new season as PLZ Soccer gets bigger and better as well. Couple of things I have to say. I'd love to be Vincent Kompany's. I'd love his agent to be working for me, Ruffy, because I'd probably be ending up on NBC or CBS with as the new head of the American network, because he's managed to get Vincent Kompany the Bayern Munich job. How did he do that?
I don't think anybody would have seen that. I don't even think the bookies would have had him in the betting.
Well, Tam didn't have him. He had money on somebody else.
Did you?
Lenny.
But no, that's
Let me do it again.
Yeah.
Right out of the blue. You know, I'd love to know how they came to that decision. You know, he's not really done enormously well to be the manager of him.
And anybody who knows Craig Bellamy will know that he'll fit right in Germany. There's a real arrogance about him. He'll be ideal as his coach.
Yeah, brilliant for him. You know, to go for Burnley to go and coaching Harry Kane, you know, in Bayern Munich. Listen, fair play to them. He done great to get them promoted. I think they tried to play a style of football in the Premier League where they were far too open and expansive, and it didn't work. He's playing with better players. You know, he's coaching better players in Munich. You know, expected to win. It might work for them, but it didn't work with the squad of players they had at Burnley.
And just when you thought it was all going well at Chelsea and they'd settled in Pochettino, had managed to root out a lot of the poisoned apples, then suddenly they sack him.
Well, that's another one you've never seen coming in the other way, you know, because you thought he kept on saying, I've got a young team, just stick by me the next couple of years, we'll be back where we were. And there obviously must have been something going on behind the scenes.
Yeah, absolutely. There's always something sinister in your mind, Ruffy, isn't
there has to be.
You're a classic Agatha Christie pundit, aren't you? No. There's got to be something going on in the
Poch
back.
might end up at Man United.
Yeah, well, you never know, because that was my next point, which is basically Eric Ten Hag. Doesn't matter if he wins against Man City by 6-0, he's out after that game. And for me, it's the right decision.
Yeah, I don't think there's a huge shock in that one. I think maybe the only surprise was that he got to this point, given the season that they've had. I think Pochettino might be next up for Man United.
Yeah, there you are. Brilliant. Everybody gives an opinion. You get your opinions on here. You'll get them all the way through the summer as well. Ruffy, we love watching games. Atalanta against Bayer Leverkusen, absolutely mental. Atalanta just did a job on them.
They certainly did, and the Germans had a fantastic season this year. I don't think, again, anybody saw that one coming. It just shows you in a one-off game, you know, if you get one particular guy turning it on the night, you're going to win the game.
Yeah, Amendola Lookman was outrageous. I mean, 2 of his goals were top drawer.
Yeah, it's fantastic goals. I spoke to speaking about earlier, you know, I think it was at Everton and Fulham, teams like that, never really bounced about in England, and then goes there and to score a hat-trick in a European final against a team that's not lost a game all season. I'm sad for Bayer Leverkusen, because I think it would have been one of the best seasons in football history, if not the best, you know, to go through a treble undefeated in terms of Europe. The German Cup and the league would have been a sensational season, but maybe they've just ran out of legs.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a great season, and there's lots more to come, lots more programming as well. Can I just say to you, if you get a chance, don't forget to join us, download the app, hit the subscribe button on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. Thank you to so many of you, because from Facebook to Twitter to our YouTube channel, by the time we get to the summer, we will have smashed our target of over 100 million views. And it's you that's made it all possible for us. So thank you for supporting us. You've been absolutely magnificent. And again, just commenting on all of our content. Stephen Kennedy says, I love Tam, even though I constantly bam him up. I'm not quite sure what that is, Stephen, but it's a sign of support.
Bam me up, that's kind of Balonlock talk, might be up from my way.
Yeah,
Balonlock
absolutely. Well,
sounds like a Ned, like me.
There's people who he does actually. Certainly nobody's going to argue with the gear you've got on today. All I would say to each and every one of you is we've had the Women's Football Show, which will continue next season. We've had the Journos, which has been an absolute joy to have the journalists coming in here and talking football near and far. Straight Talk continues throughout the summer. If you get a chance, former World Snooker Champion John Higgins is on Straight Talk this week. Next week, if you are a music fan, Ricky Ross, the lead singer with Deacon Blue, is my special guest and well worthy of a listen or indeed viewing it on our YouTube channel. You can download the podcast as well. So much more football to look forward to. Alison and the team, we're getting stronger year by year, Alison, and we just keep unearthing the odd nugget here and there that joins the team.
Indeed. Yeah, much to be excited about for the new season. I think we'll have some new shows coming and building on the success of existing shows from this season.
Yeah, are you all right for another year, Ruffy?
Yeah, I'm hanging on in there. Yeah, keep taking the tablets.
Yeah.
Hurry up, man.
To be fair, by the way, anybody that's worried about Ruffy not being here, I'd advise you now, if you can, just go on to Netflix and type in Weekend at Bernie's, because even if he's not with us, he'll still be there, and I'll be slapping him with a spatula, just killing the flies around him. Anyway, great to have Ruffy with us, and he continues. Thanks to Alison, who's been absolutely superb, and to Tam McManus. Tomorrow we'll cover the cup final. Thanks to all our backroom team who've been sensational, our reporters as well, Kerry, Patrick, who've been absolutely brilliant, Cheryl and Blair, absolutely magnificent. The European shows will continue next season as well. So from everybody here, most importantly, thanks to you for supporting us. Download the app and hit the subscribe button, and we'll continue right throughout the summer, because PLZ Soccer is going to the Euros to follow Scotland. We're looking forward to it. Hugh McDonald will be with me and Tam, giving you all the best for Scotland, hopefully getting through to the group stages. From everyone here, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching.
Danke.